こにてめえとやりに来たんだからな。それがこのざまか。
YHWHACH sucks, or so some people say. I'm just here to talk about why exactly is there such visible animosity towards a character as badass looking as YHWHACH. I mean, just look at that mustache. Oh my god. Character designs have always been Bleach's strong suits. It isn't just the women. Kubo-sensei makes sure to go all in on pretty much everyone. Either they look cool or they aren't a Bleach character. There is no in between. But although I couldn't have imagined a better character design for YHWHACH, there are some key components where his character doesn't deliver as one would expect. And considering how Bleach is one of the faces of the shonen industry, as well as a manga like 700 chapters, a less than desirable final antagonist can often be a major con. Obviously, he isn't as bad as Kaguya from Naruto. I mean, come on, that woman was barely a character. YHWHACH, he's likely this Mary Sue equivalent of an antagonist. Well then, why not just talk a little bit about this guy and see what exactly is the reason why he's not as appreciated in the anime community as Aizen the GOAT. But first, let's be real for a moment. When you have practically all the overpowered abilities, the character itself becomes rather hollow. Take Madara for example. That guy planned everything and then got his throne taken down by a woman with iron deficiency. Aizen himself is a prime example. This guy always knows what he's doing, not because it is revealed to him in a dream or something like that, but because he plans everything. Literally, his plans, his foresight. It's not the result of an all-powerful ability. No, it's his character. His brain cells simply vibe differently. As I said, he always knows what he's doing because he plans for it. His plans are perfect, down to the last minute detail. Then there is YHWHACH with his cool abilities like seeing the future and all. There is a fundamental difference between predicting the future and literally knowing it. You don't need me to tell you which is superior when it comes to a storytelling perspective. Also, this is not a YHWHACH versus Aizen video. We're just using him as an example to make a point. But going back to it, YHWHACH also has the power to just manipulate the future to his will. Meanwhile, Aizen would have to do a lot of stuff in preparation for something like that. YHWHACH will shock you like, bruh, he's got them cool abilities, while Aizen will do you bad in a way that leaves you exhilarated. It all comes down to a matter of convenience. Everyone understands that YHWHACH is supposed to be almighty, but that makes things convenient. And when things are convenient, it makes for a Mary Sue type of character. Yes, there is no reason for YHWHACH to be like Aizen. Both went through different things and came out different. But it's clear that Aizen has the X factor which YHWHACH lacks. It's like everything Aizen does has a certain air to it. He simply has a different kind of presence, and one that isn't just reliant on being overpowered by definition. That's the thing. If YHWHACH really had as strong enough a narrative presence as Aizen or Madara, we wouldn't even be comparing them in this context. YHWHACH is ridiculously, almost shamelessly overpowered. With powers this potent, or should I say omnipotent, the author has to really move all of the rocks to come up with a creative way to defeat the nemesis. In the end, the antagonist has to be conveniently dumbed down so they can be defeated. Otherwise, there is no reasonable way to kill them. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it fair to have an antagonist be too overpowered, even if it's for shock value? Honestly, it's like every mainstream shonen tries to make the final antagonist be this embodiment of invincibility. I'm curious to see how One Piece will handle the final antagonist. Kaido was such a disappointment. Only Blackbeard can bring salvation at this point. Anyways, another reason why YHWHACH gets some hate is because the 1000-year blood arc itself isn't very well received, at least when it comes to the manga. The Zero Squad had such a poor treatment. It was just one thing after another without any actual substance, especially towards the end of the story. Most of it is fine, to be honest, but like with all stories, when the ending doesn't hit the right spot, people can't help but feel let down. The anime can revise certain things, especially since Kubo-sensei has previously stated that he's actively involved in the process, so maybe the ending isn't as rushed as it is in the manga? It's been so long since the manga ended. Kubo-sensei might have changed his mind on a few things, and so the anime may surprise us by doing things differently. Anyways, why don't we talk a little bit about what makes YHWHACH an interesting character? First impressions are everything, and I'd say nothing makes a stronger impression than YHWH's almighty mustache. Then there is his overall contribution to the Bleach universe. He just destroys the Soul Society, kills the majority of them, acquires Bankais as if he's Thanos, and then proceeds to give Kenpachi an existential crisis. Then of course, there's the moment when he just trolls anyone and everyone, even those of us behind the manga pages, by straight up steamrolling Ichigo's new Bankai. I thought that's the point when the protagonist shows off his power-up. You know what I mean? This was a great twist. Moving on. When YHWH talks, it's cinematic. When he fights, it's pure chaos and the masturbation of imagination. I mean, seeing all possible futures and being able to influence them. Really? Yeah, well, that does bring with it a certain kind of shock value. Though I would have liked it if he used more of those bankais he acquired, that would have been hype. He's just as savage as he is strong, and in many ways he's the perfect example of an antagonist that is simply too overpowered. And I'd admit, when such characters show up in the story for the first time, there's this intrinsic uneasiness.
何度言えばわかるのだお前たちは。
But ultimately, as the novelty dissipates, what people truly remember is the crux of one's character, not the crux of one's abilities. In the end, Yhwach's power was reality itself, but Ichigo's power was to change fate itself, or something like that. I don't know, I never paid attention in philosophy class. Ichigo won because he's a shonen protagonist, and also because Aizen and Tsukishima backed him up. I'd rather the omnipotent big bad of the series not be overcome by a random arrow, but I guess that's just how it is. Even if you're the literal definition of being overpowered, if you've got the plot working against you, you've already lost, buddy. Yhwach lacks the inherent greatness that made Aizen such a goated character, and that inherent greatness is what we call the X Factor. So, what do you guys think? Is Yhwach a good antagonist, or do you perhaps not like him? Go wild in the comment section down below. Free cookies for everyone who likes and subscribes. And with that said, I'll see you guys in my next video.
それがこのざまか。眠れ。